Hello everybody, it's Kimberly here, and I have been so excited to bring this reading to you. I am recording it on the night of the 20th. I was just out on my hike on the mountain. Actually, instead of up in Idaho where I live, I'm down in California and hiking the mountain behind my sister's house, enjoying the warm weather. I saw the sliver of the moon and am reminded that even though we're already a couple days past the new moon, the energies are still in place for setting intentions and manifesting, and for things to become manifest into our reality, not only for the next full moon, which is January 1st, but into the next year. So super exciting times. I have been shuffling and praying over the cards and asking messages to come through. I'm going to shuffle them a little bit more, and I just wanted to show you the rock I found. There's lots of quartz on the mountain. I like to pick up pieces when I'm here, and then this piece was lying around in my sister's house as well, so I brought that in here. So let's just see what messages Spirit has for us at this time. Please bring us any insights and information that will help us on our journey. And this message is particularly for twin flames, divine masculine and divine feminine. And I was kind of playing around with just how I had room for laying the cards out. It won't be in my normal kind of spread, but hey, that's kind of fun. We'll see something. See, well, that guy just fell out. Remember that. We'll see if he comes out again. I feel like this is definitely a message, but I'm also being prompted to put it back in. So let's see what happens. I think that if it doesn't show up, they wanted to fill up all the other cards, other spaces, but they wanted us to see that, and keep that in mind. So please bring messages for us at this time. It'll help us on our journey, and especially for the solstice, the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, the summer solstice in the southern, and it's a time of renewal and rebirth, and I really feel a strong energy of things ending and then things beginning. I've talked to you guys before about my good friend Lisa that does a lot of work. We do a lot of work together, and she's experiencing a manifestation in her life right now that's just mind-blowing. This alignment that we're seeing from one aspect of our lives to another, it plays out again and again. And this is in the case with her animals, and one of her animals, and I won't go into the details, but one of her animals is literally experiencing the exact same thing that we feel the divine masculine is going through. And he's been grieving the loss of his true love, his mate, his best friend. She died earlier this year, and how it's manifesting for him. And it's just, it's mind-blowing. So a little bit more shuffling here, and I actually think I'm feeling like we're done. So I'm going to go ahead and start laying out the cards. We're going to do a top row and a bottom row. I'm going to have to move these because I need every inch of space that I can make. We'll do 4 for each. And I hadn't decided whether the feminine would be on top or the masculine, and I feel like they're just going to show us. So I'll feel like I'll have a very clear understanding of which row is which as we go. And if I don't, we will ask for more guidance on that. Actually, that one goes in the middle. I think I can just fit it in. Okay, and I think I can fit these guys in here as well. So let's take a look what we have. See, I talked to you. Endings. And then new beginnings. Wow. Okay, I already have a feeling. Wow, 2 pages. Balancing. I'm going to wait to turn over the one in the middle till the end. I feel like it's going to be something that will show us. So far, unless it's this one here, we don't have the Tower. But remember, the Tower came out for a reason, and I feel like it's really definitely connected with this. And the, wow. The 21st is, of course, the day that's the shortest day of the year. And as in the daylight up in the northern hemisphere. And that's kind of what this picture even is talking about. It's the ending of something, and yet we see the dawn on the horizon. So from this point on, we're going to be able to start celebrating the return of the sun. The sun is going to be coming more and more, rising every single evening a little bit sooner, rising up a little earlier in the morning. Traditionally, just December 25th was celebrated as the rebirth of the sun, because that was the first day they could really tell a difference from the 21st until the 25th. So we really see that right here. And then we have the Queen of Cups coming in right after that. I really feel that there's this strong connection with her looking, she's here, but she's looking at this coming, and even see the sun. She even sees and knows and feels the sun coming, in spite of the, like, this is like on the other side of it, even though it's not, right? Like from her perspective, if this were the divine feminine right now, she knows this is right, what's right in front of her, but she feels the light of the sun, the warmth of the sun is on her and in her consciousness even more than this ending. And I actually feel, this just comes to me, I actually feel it because she really truly understands that this ending brings the sun, and the sun almost obscures the pain of this ending. Whatever this is that's ending is something she wanted to end. One of the things about this card, I love it, is that there's actually a bit of dark humor and dark wit in here, and I think, I might be mistaken, but I think this came up in my last reading. And when we were channeling insights on each card in particular, one of the things that was brought forward is how I had just recently read an article about how dark humor and dark wit is something that scientists say is understood by more intelligent people. Like if somebody actually gets dark humor, dark wit, understands it, laughs at it, and thinks it's funny, it actually shows they actually have a very strong correlation with a higher level of intelligence. And that what they're saying is there's a level of complexity to understanding the humor in something that's macabre. And, like if somebody's telling a joke, if you take the joke at face value, if it's a dark wit humor joke, it can be, kind of disturbing, but then you see like that irony in it, or, whatever that makes it funny. And if you can laugh at it, then, it's a higher level of intelligence. And that's really what the Queen of Cups is. In fact, the Queen of Cups is also somebody who, she is so deeply, deeply connected to everything around her in the world. She is truly here because, she's sitting on her throne here. She's in this place because of the deep connection that she has and the incredible understanding, so that she doesn't take things at surface value. So she can see the dark wit in something that somebody else might say, that's not funny. And she goes, oh, but yes, it is. And it's because she sees so much more to it. To her, everything is complex. And I'm even looking at the complex lines here of the water. See, that's not like this water's just smooth. And this one here is all these eddies and these complex patterns. And even you see it reflected in her robe. It has a very complex pattern. So she understands and knows things that most people would take at just face value. And she knows there's many more layers of this. So she understands that this has many layers in it for her or for others, or, in any situation that she's in, regardless, she understands that. So I really do feel that top row is about her. And this is also her here because it's kind of really two aspects. We see, we see the sensitive, intuitive, connected side of her that is mothering and caring and insightful. And then we see the part of her that's successful, and it really comes from this. It's from that higher knowing. And in fact, when I was shuffling, I had the High Priestess show up, and I I knew that that was just because it's just saying, you have it coming in, and of course, all of the twin flames on this journey have that connection to higher realms, higher knowledge, and to, trust. Do as a little message to me. Just trust whatever messages flow through you at this time, because there's going to be people who will need to hear them and will appreciate them, and they will be accurate and true. And she really becomes this because of this. And I feel like there's so many and I hear this story over and over again with the divine feminine in general, and this may not be true for all of you, but it does seem that in general, we've struggled with this feeling of abundance. I really believe that we've each been called to go through our own set of circumstances, but often it's reflective of that for us, this is supposed to come first. And in order for this to truly come first, we even had to, perhaps we chose to, but we had to because it was part of our choice to experience, kind of going to the very edge, this very edge of darkness that was right here, of lack, not having enough money, not having, the career that things have fallen apart for many of us because we might have been set out in a certain direction. I used to be a clinic director. Before that, I was a school teacher, but I was a clinic director, and I'd been successful in that and opened and ran 2 new clinics for the company. And yet when I began my journey of awakening, I was not able to continue in that work. It was literally just came to my absolute knowing that for whatever reason, I didn't know why, but I had to move on. And that was an ending there. And it actually happened right, 3 years ago at this very time. And then that experience brought in a lot of a lack of, money and funds and in all of the things that were brought up into my awareness to deal with, or part of the journey. And that's what she has gone through for many of you guys. But that is truly at an end. That's one of the things that is at an end. And this had to come first. The intuition, the knowing, the following through, and understanding that you truly have it within you. I actually see this person here as kind of like the really physical essence and presence of the Empress. In fact, if you look at the Empress, and I might find the card here, she has a robe. I'm not going to take the time, but she has a robe that looks similar to this. She has roses all over her robe. And it's like, to me, this is the Empress who took off her crown and then, went back into her vineyard, and she's flying her falcon and, looking at all of the abundance of the things that she created, she manifested because of, it literally attracting into her experience through the magnetic power of the Empress. So this is kind of her in the real sense. And the falcon represents, it really is like it's her own eyes. The falcon, when he flies up into the air, he gives her this bird's eye view of everything. And that is the real strong connection with the Queen of Cups. In that the Queen of Cups has this other insight, like she's, has an intuition and insights that most people don't have. And this is kind of the physical representation of those kinds of insights from up higher that most people wouldn't be able to see. So again, we're kind of going back to here, where this person sees that within this is really this, that there's the endings, there's the hardship that's been, that's gone through. And this is just like, this is kind of going back to the dark weight and dark humor. It's like, one sword could have done it, right? I mean, did you really need 10? And all of them, stuck in him like that. And so it's really like saying this whatever was passing and whatever is done with is over and done with, and it's finished. And that person, both of these women, they really totally get it. So let's take a look at what's going on with the Divine Masculine right now. I see him very much being represented here in a childlike state. And as the pages are the children, they're the new, the beginning, the first of the court cards. They're definitely representing, characteristics. And because we have 2 of them, and it's interesting, we're having them very much parallel here, where we see the feminine, being Queen of Cups, and he's the Page of Cups. He's her student. And then the Page of Pentacles is, related to the Nine of Pentacles here. They're both Pentacles, and he's, the younger version in the sense of this, who, this woman again, like whether it's the Queen of Cups or it's the Empress, I feel very much that is her as she's just out in her field, how she would dress. And so we have the, the correlation here as well, but he's the beginner, and he's beginning to learn the things that she's gone through. And you even see, it's almost like these came first. If we're going from, in this direction here, they're ahead of, she's not that they came first, but she's ahead of him, and he's just a little bit behind, but not much. And his the Page of Cups here is a character that he has this connection with the source of things. He has some of the complexity with the water behind him that she has, but it's not quite as complex, it's not quite as deep, but he is learning. And one of the ways he's learning is by practicing. I feel like that the fish here represents him beginning to take a look at his own emotions and seeing what comes up. And a lot of the stuff that's coming up for him is really surprising him. And I really feel this is really strongly connected here. And this is where I'll say, even though I feel like the feminine is the top or the masculine is the bottom, that they're very much strongly tied in with each other. And so as we're taking a look at here, I'm looking up here to see what is some of the stuff that's coming up for him in this cups. It is things having to do that, that are surprising him. He's surprised at his emotions. He's surprised at his, looking deep inside. How does he really feel about things? And I think he's surprised that the ending that he's experiencing, because he's experiencing this as well. He's surprised that it is not as horrible as he thought it would be. Like he had, for example, if you're kind of looking ahead of this in your existence and it's coming, a lot of times we're like this where, I know at a certain time this certain situation is going to end and it's going to be really difficult and it's going to be hard, and you even might avoid it, you might shut it out, you might not want to think about it, but there it is. And this situation for him as he's actually walked into it, because it's happening right now, that I feel very present in this is the 21st, because literally is representing the longest day of the year in the northern hemisphere. And so what is ending for him at this time? And he's got some surprise about the emotions and the feelings that are coming up for him in regards to it. And another thing about this page is he is I'm trying to think of how to describe this. Okay, so see how his head, he's like wearing this really heavy turban like this, and so is the Page of Pentacles, but here it's blue and here it's red. So with the Page of Cups, it's blue because he really is truly connected to divine intuition. It's covering his third eye, and in fact we even see the little dot on there to indicate the third eye, and it's representative of his, he is intuitive, he is connecting through his third eye. And so this situation of the ending that he has experienced is truly coming into his conscious awareness in, through his higher mind, through his higher self, connection with higher self. So now then we get into pages and it's like, okay, so why did we move from here to here? It was a very clear picture. In fact, this guy is kind of facing that direction, maybe toward the past. It's looking in feelings of the past. It's taking a stronger look at that. And then now we have him more looking toward the future. We have him represented from a Page of Cups with the blue to a Page of Pentacles with the red. Well, think about the red, what it represents. It represents the red chakra. So now he's taking this information and this knowledge and this insights that were coming through his blue, through the higher realm and through his higher chakra, and he's translating it into the very earthly and grounding it into the earth and going to the very root of it, to the root chakra. And what is it that he's got? Well, he's got the pentacle that he's looking at. And one of the things that we were shown is that he actually, you don't see it in the card, it's not shown in the card, but they were telling us that he's got in his fingertips, he has chains that connect to the pentacle. And what it really is meaning by that is that then he takes this and he can like toss it out. He can, he can throw it to the wind. He can plant seeds with it or whatever, but it's still connected to him energetically. So no matter what he does with this, and this is very directly related to this coming first, the knowledge, the realization, the understanding, the emotional, the intuition, just like her, and that's what he's coming into understanding. And then this represents going forth and actually beginning to use it, making something of it, making something happen, and taking this higher knowledge and information and insights, and then bringing it into the physical, which of course is the very masculine side, part of him to do. And then what we're really shown here is him coming into balance with his masculine and feminine side. And this is a really beautiful and encouraging thing, because I feel like up until this point on the journey, which is the ending, which is the 21st, and I have also had strong confirmation that this is really a big ending for the masculine. That the old way of doing and being things is truly ending, and we're seeing it happen politically, and what I believe is going to come forward over the next year is, even though we don't know everything yet, we're going to discover throughout the next year and years beyond, we're going to understand from the political perspective that much more has been happening during this year, during 2017, especially, breaking down the masculine paradigm on Earth, which that's what the Tower was about. The Tower is a very masculine card, and it's coming down. And so that's what's ending. That's what is ending. And then we have a new, fresh beginning, and she sees it. She knows it. In fact, she's helped manifest this all along, but she kind of has a detachment to it. She's like just watching and observing, and even kind of standing aloof and away from it, because she's known it all along. She knows this is coming, and that is having been the case with the Divine Feminine, that she has been working on her inner work, the inner work, and she's done the clearing, and she's made so much progress in coming into true alignment with who she truly is at her core, which really is the Queen of Cups, is like almost the most perfect representation of all the queens, to us on this journey. It's the spirit, this, intuitive side of us. So she understands and knows that it's changing. Now it's the masculine that's coming along, and he's in the very beginning. We see the sun here as the new beginning, and the baby, and that's what we have right here. We have the Page of Cups. Well, what we're going to be seeing going into 2018 is that far more of this was occurring during 2017 than we realized. It was happening underneath the surface. What really needed to occur, though, was for a true ending of the old masculine paradigms and the way things were. We needed that to happen in order for him to be able to step into the new. We do see here, however, that for a moment, he doesn't quite know what to do with this. So this was all fresh and new insights and ideas, and he's even having some ideas on how to manifest it into his reality. He's, questioning and wondering and thinking. This guy is a big thinker, and he's the guy that says, what if? What would happen if? When would, what would be the result of? And he's about to do something, and he has ideas about how to do it, but he hasn't quite done it yet. So this is where we see him kind of backing up a minute and saying, oh, wait a minute, this is a lot more than I realized. I didn't, wasn't so sure about this. After all, I'm in unfamiliar territory and in new ground. He's stuck all the wands in the ground behind him as kind of, okay, I'm going to stake my claim here, I'm going to stake my claim here, I'm going to stake my claim here. And he's begun to do that, and it's kind of like forming a, like a solid stance. But as you can see here, he's still a little unsure. We were shown that this long wand that he has in his hand is actually, even though it looks the same as all these other ones, it actually is quite different. And it's the same as the wand that the king has here. I would like to suggest to you that this, just in the same way that this is, representative of the Divine Feminine in her feminine queenly form, and then this is her in her everyday form, we kind of have something like that going on with these two cards for him in this spread. And this wand is not as powerful as the Magician's wand, but he can do a lot more. He can do much with it in a similar way. And this guy, even though he doesn't really totally realize it yet, he does have that ability. And this bandage on his head, look at that's interesting, because their heads are also covered. This one on his head, we're told that, it's definitely covering his third eye. And the one thing that this guy truly needs to do is understand, I have this ability to see things even more clearly, with more perception, more perspective, if I just take this bandage off, or if I use the eye that's behind it, the third eye. And that would give him a whole new perspective on these wands back here. We often look at this card as saying, he's just standing there and he's being in a defensive position. But I think there's a lot more that is going on with this guy in this spread than that. It is about a time of taking, he's standing still. So he is taking a moment to, figure some things out. But it is coming in. And, this right here, we're seeing that as a sure thing for that as well. And the reason I say it's coming in is because this does look like a guy who's got some things figured out. He's moving from a stage of feeling held back to actually participating, engaging, giving, receiving, and balance. And again, what I was talking about before, this is the feminine and the masculine side, and they're coming into balance. Well, this is now taking that, where there might be a moment of holding back, and then this is taking it into, okay, here's something I can do with it, and starting to bring it into, kind of a physical 3D realm. So this spread over here is what I want to look at for twin flame, the pair, the union. We kind of talked about how these do relate to each other here, but I still kind of see them on this separate track. They're still kind of doing their own thing. I don't see a lot of engagement in relationship right here. So let's take a look at what we have here. We have the King of Wands, we have the Two of Wands, we have the Ace of Wands, and the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is at the base of the spread, and it really creates kind of the middle card will be the theme of the whole reading, but this is the foundation. This is the basis for all of this. The Hanged Man is having an amazing epiphany and a realization and an understanding. And because this is for both of us, this is assurance that everything that's happening in our lives to this point, and because this is truly about the time of the solstice here, the solstice itself is providing an epiphany, and each of us will have our own in our own way. We're kind of seeing, that within these lines. But make no mistake that these are quite powerful energies of transformation that we're going through here, and we especially see it here from the contrast. And then the Hanged Man is about transformation, about sudden realization. It's about taking the time to integrate it. This guy is, hanging by his foot for a while, as we're told in, the stories about him, and in order to, receive the revelation. Don't you feel like, especially the divine feminine, we've been hanging by our feet? Well, so is the masculine. They have been going through, they've been held back. One of the things that I think a lot of twins have been impatient about is that, thinking is that just a deliberate choice that the divine masculine has made to stay away and to, not engage. If for those of you, which I still think is the majority of twins, are not in union yet. And so it's, we sometimes want to lay blame on that, but they were being held back as well. It was important because there's so much integration that takes place in this Hanged Man. It's integrating the higher realms. And what's interesting too, you think about it, like if a person is right side up, then they're connecting, the upper part of them is connecting with the higher realms. But in this case, his head is down here and connecting with the higher realms, and it's, kind of the reverse for the way his energy would flow gravitationally. And I think it's interesting because it kind of reverses the whole order of all the chakras. And I'm wondering even if it's about, kind of like creating alignment from in other directions. It's not, we have to have alignment through and through. It can't just be, the normal way that we think of it. We have to be changed inside and out, frontwards and backwards, and in every sense, so that when we have, different situations come to us, like this guy who's, feeling defensive and like he needs to hold back or whatever, that, truly internally your vibration and your, where you're at in a sense of, your own alignment, that you're able to see things from a different perspective and have a different kind of reaction, a different kind of result than the same old way. And that was something that, in order for us to come into those, to that true state of being, it had to happen with us separated in that sense. The King and the Ace here, I feel like it's interesting. The King is on the left side, and so he's in the feminine position, and as in, the left or the right, and it's saying that he truly is coming into, the masculine is coming into more of a connection with their feminine side. And it's interesting too because the Ace of Wands is a very yang, of all the aces, it's the most yang of them all. Actually, all the wands are very yang in energy. And we see it coming up right here, as well as the 2. And the ace is about new beginnings. So this whole experience that we're having at the 21st, the 21st is an ending. It's the Tower coming down. It's the masculine, an end of the masculine paradigm here on earth is truly winding up. It's truly about to change in ways we never dreamed possible. And then from that collapse, all of this energy, look at all of these, there's more sprouts on this particular wand than any other wand in the deck. And like this one only has, 2 and then 1. Well, they all have usually have about 3. So, but this is just covered with them. And it's saying there's so much potential here for complete, utter transformation and new beginnings and being able to create creatively because we've gone through this experience. We've been held back long enough to truly have this integration and this realization, this alignment, this, raising your vibration is what that's also about. And it's about the masculine. And so the feminine are also experiencing this, but right now the emphasis is on the masculine. And then, of course, we have the 2 of Wands. It's seeing the potential in something. This guy here is holding what's just really, truly like a map, only it's a 3D map because it's in the shape of, a globe. It's of the whole entire earth. And he's looking out, at just a little tiny portion of it. But he has within his hand, he has all of it within one hand. And it's just showing you that, perhaps all you've manifested and created in your life right now is just this estate and these lands and this ground, which is fantastic. It's, it's quite an achievement. But there's even like the potential is unlimited. You have the map in your hand of every single possible thing you could ever want to do, and you have the power to achieve it, to make it happen. And it's because of the 2, because of the divine union and partnership. The 2 of Wands has always been a twin flame card for me. And it's interesting because this is in his hand here. The other one is just stuck in the ground here, but it has the potential, for him to reach back and then bring them together. Right now it's behind him. He's not looking at it. He's not seeing it. He's got this one firmly in his hand, and yet the potential is right there. And it's, the union is there. So what this guy really also is demonstrating is that ability to create and manifest things in physical form by the thought and the realization, that's the 5D, the 3D to 5D, and then back to 3D creation process. That's how everything is manifested in a physical sense, is because we have the thought or the idea, the conscious thought or idea in our 3D reality, and then we send it up here. So this kind of represents that, the thought of it. And she's doing the same thing with the bird in her hand, and she uses that to connect to the higher realms as well, and then bring it down into the physical sense. And he's doing the same thing here. So let's take a look. I can't wait to see what we have here and see if this gives us some more insights on it. Okay, so this is actually, I was a little disappointed. I would like to have some amazing card on the, in there about union and all that. But what is great about this one for me is that this card is saying even though at the heart and the center of where we may be at the moment, we feel lost, we feel defeated, we feel like this all right here is all great, you guys, but in your own life and experience, I still feel like we're only truly experiencing a fraction of where we know it will be. That's kind of what this guy has. He has just a fraction of, what it can be. So as we're right here at the 21st on this solstice where we know things are ending, we know the masculine paradigm is falling down, they're going to be coming into their ability to, connect more with their emotions and then bring that into a physical sense. And that's going to be happening, but right now we're still more feeling this. We're feeling that this is one of these people, maybe you, maybe this is, I don't know, but I'm feeling like I relate mostly to one of these 2 because I feel like, life has kind of kicked me in the ass sometimes, and especially in this experience and journey of awakening. It's really tough. And so that's at the core and the center right now. But all around it, we have this assurance that that's not the story. This is an illusion. And again, I talked about this in one of my videos that I've been creating on the series about the event. And I talk about the fact that I've always kind of been bothered when people just say, oh, this is just an illusion, this isn't really real. Because even though they're very truly aspects of what we're living in that is illusion, it's a very real world. We're physically in it. We have a physical manifestation of a body that we feel, we experience, and we're stuck in a sense. Of course, it's all about transcending that and understanding that there's so much more. So the illusion is thinking that this is all there is, when in fact, we have through the journey that we're discovering and that all of us are on, we have truly discovered and come to acknowledge and trust in the fact that there is so much more. So this is where, it feels like defeat. It feels like lack, loss, and, gloom. But when all the reality is we are creating it, it is coming to fruition. We are manifesting in a 3D, 5D, 3D way. And it's because we've had this, we've been taking this time to become truly enlightened and illumined. And it's been really, really important for the masculine to come into this aspect as well. And he is, like, we're seeing him, he's right here. So one of the things that I, want to talk about is that we've been given a lot of very clear information. I'm sorry, somebody's just coming in here.
We're going to do dinner pretty soon.
Okay. So we've been given a lot of clear indication and information about the feminine and the masculine twin flames. What's very unique about the connection is that they have a much, much stronger ability to affect each other's path and journey. Now, you all probably are aware, as you've really come and embodied this Queen of Cups energy, that it's affected everybody around you, your children, your other loved ones in ways that may not be that tangible, but some of them are tangible, and then there's intangible ways as well. And that we also know that it stretches far beyond that. Every little bit of our journey where we're shedding things that have weighed us down and we're raising our vibration, that we're truly doing it in a sense for the collective as well, because whatever we're experiencing is having that ripple effect throughout the entire globe. And in fact, it's why twin flames and light workers and starseeds incarnated on this planet, was to help bring and raise up the vibration of this earth so that more people could ascend in this coming event that that we're at this time of this, at the end of Earth's 3D experience. But with the twins, it's like the channel is so wide open that the way that we affect each other, and look at that, isn't that sweet? My sun sign is water, and my twin sun sign is fire. So that's and I feel like they're beautiful combination. She truly is affecting him, and he her. So often I've had a sense of, I've known that the connection that I'm in, the things that I'm aware of, and how I'm doing the conscious 3D work that then goes up to the 5D and then comes back and manifests in his 3D. And we were actually specifically told this in our joint channeling, and also the individual channeling I've been told a number of times about different aspects of this, how this is the really key thing about why we chose to separate our soul to begin with, to divide our soul into two parts, so that it's kind of like, specializing in the feminine. So we are even stronger in this than the average, human being, because we're so highly polarized. And they're even stronger in the masculine, which also can create a very unstable, and there's a lot of kind of quote unquote danger in it. Like, it can be very risky, but it also is, created so much, there's so much potential for being able to heal and bring together the feminine and the masculine on this planet, which is the real core issue of what has occurred on this planet for so long. That's been the major problem. And so the twin flames in what we do, when even the masculine is also bringing things into our reality, because they have realizations and things that are going up and then coming down for us and manifesting in ours. And I have had so much proof of this lately. It's absolutely been mind-blowing, and I won't go into it now. I probably will do a video about it later, but I was also channeled last night about it, and I was told that it happens so much more than any of us realize, and they encouraged me to take note of it on a daily basis. And in fact, as I was sitting there channeling, they gave me like I don't know, about 10 8 or 10 examples from just that day alone of how the synchronicity and how I had evidence and proof of it in my own experience and in this 3D, 5D, 3D creation and alignment between myself and my twin, and then how it was manifesting not just from things that I know about what's going on with him or with me, which really are quite mind-blowing in parallels and alignment, but other instances in my life. And then they were telling me reminding me the Bible quote that says, ask and it shall be given unto you, seek and you will find, knock and it will be opened unto you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and he who knocks it shall be opened. And it is really like you have not because you ask not. Jesus also said that. And so the more we take the time to go back over our day and think about the different times that things came in, and we recognize the alignment, and we recognize the synchronicity, and we recognize and give thanks for it, then the more, I mean, it's always there anyway, but then we'll see more, and then we'll experience more. That's the asking, in a sense, part of that. So I did want to turn over the bottom of the deck because I feel like there's definitely going to be, some kind of theme for all of this in the message here. And oh wow. So there was a reason I was supposed to turn that over. This is the Divine Lovers card. I just actually only recently bought this a few months ago, this other new deck for me, because it had this card in it. And of course, I got the idea, very, much acknowledge the fact that I get that from Agatha, and always loved it. And this card doesn't come up very often for me. It's very rare, but when it does, it's always the right moment. And so we really got a clear picture here right now, you guys, about we're each doing our own thing in a sense, but there's parallels. We're going through this process, but even though we feel like this at the moment, this is the truth. And oh, look what's underneath there. I didn't really mean to. Yeah, then we have reunion card. That's the reunion card. So this is the truth of the matter. And it really, to be honest, that has been one of my greatest, I would say, biggest breakthroughs over the last 6 months or so was just finally releasing, acknowledging, surrendering to this truth, and knowing that the illusion that we're anything other than one is all illusion. It's all a distortion of the truth. And that's one thing the Law of One talks about, that there is only one law, and that is that everybody, we're all one. In fact, every single one of us, ultimately, we are as connected to each other as the twin flames are at higher dimensions, at higher levels. Like, we come into that kind of synchronization and true harmony of our core vibration at higher levels. It's just that the twins are the manifestation in the lower 3D realms of that, because we're truly each other's half, at this subdivided state of our, individuation. So this right here, this is of course about the soulmate card. It's about reunion as well. It's about seeing each other for who we really are, going back to those innocent, sweet times that, we all have had at some point in our existence. And then here we do have reunion. So you guys, it's there. The 21st of December, as we hit the solstice, the truth underlying score, because this basically has the energy of the entire spread encapsulated right here. This is the truth. And hold on to that as we're working through all of the, specific aspects of the journey that make the journey sometimes challenging, but also beautiful. And so, I just want to, say thank you guys so much for watching my channel. And I will be doing more regular readings. I'm going to be recording one in a few days here to upload in time, actually a few days ahead of time, for the new year. The new year is actually the new moon, so that will be there as well. And then I also know that the 111 is a really, really huge, powerful date. We have an alignment there in Scorpio with this, just kind of mind-blowing, and then the date being 111, and the year is in 11 years. So thank you all for watching, subscribing, and liking my channel. Have a good day.